Will removing these dams help restore coho salmon? Does California Fish and Game have the authority to impose regulatory action on the Klamath River? Are commercial salmon fisheries in serious trouble in the Pacific Northwest? The Dormant Commerce Clause. All rivers that fall under the protection of the Dormant Commerce Clause specifically state that it supersedes any state action. Should a state list a species as endangered, it cannot impose any regulatory action on said river. Only a federal listing of endangered can result in regulatory action, and that is limited to water and substrate only. However, a case in 1970 challenged the Dormant Commerce Clause and created a loophole wherein a state could have regulatory action if it could prove that it would be a benefit to the environment concerned. I do believe that at this time the California ESA listing of coho is unlawful, as their proposed action will not restore salmon fisheries on the Klamath River. Listing coho salmon as endangered. At this point in time, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service listing for coho as endangered exists from Punta Gorda in Humboldt County south into Mendocino County. Punta Gorda is south of where the Klamath empties into the ocean. At this point in time, there is no federal listing of coho as endangered on the Klamath River. I still believe that the listing of a fish species on any river or location must have a history of the species being native to the location. In the case of the Klamath, the coho were not native, and at very best Fish and Game consider this a failed experiment and not an endangered species. Coho history on the Klamath River. To date, the historical records do not account for coho salmon being native to the Klamath River. When Fish and Game are challenged, they cannot substantiate that coho were ever native to the Klamath. The official records indicate that coho were first planted in the Klamath in 1895, 1899, multiple times in the 60s and in the 80s. The salmon kill in 2002 was attributed to toxic algae from the reservoirs. A CDC investigation proved that the reservoirs were not toxic. The kill was believed to be a methamphetamine dump by Del Norte, Humboldt, and Siskiyou County Sheriff's Departments, in addition to the California Conservation Corps. In 1950, the total salmon landings in the Pacific Northwest was 149,000 metric tons, according to National Marine Fisheries landings data. In 2007, the total salmon landings in the Pacific Northwest was 403,000 metric tons. This represents a 270% increase in the Pacific landings, which clearly indicates that the Pacific Northwest fisheries are in excellent shape. It is also of interest to note that in the best of times, only 20% of salmon were caught in California, Oregon, and Washington. In 2007, they landed only 3%. It is unfortunate that the salmon fisheries in California, Oregon, and Washington have seriously declined. However, the data clearly indicates that dams and human activities have no effect on this present situation. Since the entire premise of removing dams is to restore salmon fisheries in California, Oregon, and Washington, the data does not support either the KBRA or KHSA based on the data from National Marine Fisheries, SOA, and NOAA. The following graph represents the metric tons of all salmon landed in California and Oregon as compared to temperature changes in the Pacific Ocean. It becomes apparent that as the ocean temperature rises, the salmon move north into cooler waters off of Alaska. One possible theory for historic ocean warming is historic volcanic activity in the Ring of Fire. Conclusions regarding coho salmon. 1. Coho salmon were never native to the Klamath. 2. California proposed regulatory actions are unlawful. 3. Coho decline in California and Oregon due to historic rise in temperature of the Pacific Ocean. 4. dam removal will not restore salmon fisheries in California and Oregon. 5. Historic rise in Pacific Ocean temperature, possibly due to historic volcanic activity in Ring of Fire. 6. Data support these positions are from NOAA, NASA, National Marine Fisheries Service, and LRP. Thank you for watching.